Hello folks, and welcome to the Supplier Spotlight Tales of the Trade, where I am sitting down with some brilliant minds behind some of the UK's most inspiring wedding businesses. My name's Liam Ball, your magical wedding host, also known as the Gentleman Magician. And today I'm joined by somebody who's going to be talking all about the world of social media content creation. As the founder of Socially Ever After, she's a specialist in capturing and sharing wedding day content in real time so that couples can have their memories as they unfold, candid and all. She's going to bring a fresh, modern approach to some social media storytelling, helping couples to share their day beautifully with the world. So let's dive in and find out how this creative magic happens as we meet the founder of Socially Ever After, the wonderful Jade Conroy. Hi Jade, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. That was a lovely intro, thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. It's all very true. I mean, I can say that, of course, from personal experience, as with many people that I have on here. I worked with you. It was at Joe and Ellie's wedding, and the content that came out of that was fantastic. But of course, Joe and Ellie were great clients as well. So it was a great client and a great day with a whole bunch of great people. So it certainly made my job easy. Obviously, social content creator, probably one of the newest trends in the wedding industry, I'd say. What sparked the idea for you of becoming and developing a business as a social content creator?
It was a Sunday dinner conversation with a friend of mine who runs another wedding supplier company.
Oh yeah.
The Pretty Events company, the lovely Kaylee. She has been in the industry for years and years and years. And I think I'd recently helped her, gone to one wedding and I helped her set up. We were just talking about weddings and stuff. And I'm always talking about photography and how much I love taking pictures. I'm always taking pictures of my kids and, you know, different things in life. Sorry. And we were just having a conversation and she was the one who told me about it. She said, you know, there's this new thing that's, you know, it'll be 2 years ago next month. She said, you know, there's this new craze taking the wedding world by storm. Everybody, you know, wants it, loves it, but not many people have heard of it. And she was like, you'd be fantastic at it. You know, you've got the personality, you can go in and talk to people and, you know, you love taking the photos and videos. So she really, really spurred me on. In all honesty, she was probably my main drive behind it. She literally went home that evening and created me a logo, a different one to the one I've got now, and it was a different name at the time as well. But she created me this logo to just kind of spur me on. She was amazing. Yeah. And she talked me into it. And then I just went from there. Got excited about it. Kind of, we made another logo and put my name out there, offered to do some weddings for free to build a bit of a portfolio. I did my first wedding a couple of months later and the rest is history. Absolutely loved it, fell in love with doing it, love going to people's weddings. I've had every single couple I've had have been amazing. Lovely people, even so down to their friends and family. You know, just meeting those people that when you go to the weddings and you're a content creator, it's probably the same for most suppliers, but you just feel like you're one of them. You literally do feel like an extra guest. You get involved, you're doing the getting ready stuff with the bridesmaids and stuff. So you just feel like one of them and they always make you feel welcome. So I absolutely love it.
I mean, was there some kind of inroads that you had to social media content creation, or was it just something where you kind of thought something along the lines of, well, I know how to edit videos and post them to Instagram, so I'm just going to crack on and do that?
Yeah, very, very much so. I mean, I've always been quite good at editing photos. So the video side of it has kind of come with time and me practicing and, you know, nearly 2 years in it, doing it. But I think when you love something, you naturally are a little bit good at it anyway. And I absolutely love, even more than taking the photos and the videos, I love editing them even more. That's probably my favorite bit. So yeah, that just kind of came with time.
Okay. So I suppose, of course, I mean, through doing that, your passion for weddings has grown. I mean, as I say, you know, firsthand, I've been seeing your work. It's fantastic. What is it you think that really kind of drills in the love and the passion and sort of comes out the other end of sharing wedding stories via social media?
I think when people love your work, I think I had a couple of weddings, always towards the end of the year, it goes a little bit quieter. Obviously, this is like the height of wedding season at the minute, or we're at the beginning of it going into the height. And then towards the end of the last year, it was a bit quiet. I hadn't had that many. Towards the beginning of the year, I actually do have a day job, a Monday to Friday job that I do, and that had changed. I had a whole new career change, and I'd kind of really lacked confidence. And then the couple of weddings that I have done recently, funnily enough, even though it's content creation and you think the main reason behind it is for social media, the couples that I've done it for actually didn't want anything shared on social media. So after not doing weddings for a little bit, a couple of months, then doing a couple and not being able to share it, I lost my I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, I lost my confidence with it a little bit. But then the last 2 weddings I've done, I've been able to post it, and the feedback and the confidence, I was like, no, I get this now. This is why I love doing it. That's my drive. Everything I post, I'm just getting so many compliments, even from strangers. And you're like, yeah, actually, I'm doing a good job. I must be doing something right. So yeah, that's the drive, I think.
So I guess probably for somebody who's watching this thinking social media content creation at a wedding, because it's very, very, very new. What's the difference between what you do and all of the guests turning up with their phones, looking through the screens, recording everything and sharing it themselves? Because there is a difference, isn't there?
There is absolutely a difference. I mean, number one, as the bride, I would want as many photos and stuff as I could get. So I would want my guests to be taking it, but they're not necessarily going to take things that I want to get. So I always have a couple of calls with the bride before, and I'm able to get that stuff. Also, photographers and videographers are the stars of the show. What they produce at the end is game changer. Like, it's ultimately what you want, or for me anyway, what I wanted out of my wedding. But I don't want to be looking at my photos on my video and have Aunt Sally at the front with her flip phone case in my lovely glossy image on my wall.
Yeah.
When I'm doing my dick kiss coming back down the aisle or whatever, and everybody's got their phones out. Plus, it's such a special day and everybody wants to be there for you and embrace it, and they want to celebrate your love. You don't really want people in looking at their phones, and you want them in the moment with you.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess really it's the kind of the crossover between the candid moments of the day as they unfold, which granted some photographers and videographers will capture, but even so, they've really got that knack of making it look super formal and absolutely intentional in their sets, versus making sure that when something big is happening, the people there can enjoy it as opposed to having to capture it. And at the same time, having that really modern social media style feel to putting it all together, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So what would you say a typical wedding day looks like for you from start to finish?
Start to finish, morning, get up, charge it. Well, I usually charge everything before, but make sure everything's charged, pack my bag. I'm always early. Always get there about half an hour early, especially if I haven't done the getting ready stuff and you're going straight to the venue. I think it was quite nice to get to the venue and take some outside shots before people are walking in. Always make a beeline straight away for obviously the bride or groom or whoever might be there, but usually the photographer and the videographer. I always go and have a chat with them and say, let's discuss how things can work. Where do you want me to stand? I obviously don't really want to be in your way. But on the same hand, I want to be able to get my stuff. And I don't really want to get anything from the same angle as them if I can help it, because the idea is to have something that's different. That's the idea of a content creator. You're getting more of a behind the scenes look. You don't want to be standing next to a photographer or videographer because you don't want to be getting the same stuff. Obviously, there's points throughout the day when you do end up standing next to them, because for your own social media and to make the reel look nice, there's certain parts of it, especially like the confetti shot or walking back down the aisle, you want to be able to get that nice look for your reel. But generally, of the last wedding I did last Saturday, we looked around at one point and we were like a triangle, the videographer, photographer, and I was like, look, we've got it sorted. We've got it from all angles. We're like a dream team. So always make a beeline for them, go and chat with them, go and meet the bride. because usually it's the bride that I would see first, introduce myself to the bridesmaids, and I literally just get stuck in from the minute I'm in the door. If I go into like their hotel room or their getting ready room, I've got my gimbal in my hand and I am ready to go, and I'm just filming away, really. I tend to do 95% videos, maybe even more than that. And then most of the photos that I take would be a screenshot from the video. I've only really done 2 weddings where there's been a videographer. So usually if there's just a photographer, then I see my role as more video anyway, but you would want more video for the reel. Yeah, then I just get stuck in. I'm kind of always on hand. I'm usually near and next to the bride most of the time. Sometimes we pop to the loo and I'm holding a dress up. Sometimes I've got a lipstick in my bag. Sometimes I'm getting a drink or I'm fixing the dress. I'm under the veil with them, taking a kissing shot. Really are that like extra. Some people talk about it, and I know some of the other content creation girls have got really really fantastic business names where they're like backstage bridesmaid or bridal bestie, and because you really are just that extra member. So yeah, basically that's what I do. And then often I will go off with the couple when they're doing their couple shots with the photographer again to get a couple of those nice videos for the reel. But then again, like I say, you don't really want to be getting the same stuff because your idea is to be different. You're behind the scenes. So, and you want to get stuff that the couple aren't seeing. So I'll often go back over and I'll do little videos of the guests having their drinks, having fun, and try and get that stuff that the couple might have missed out on from the day.
That's great. I think there's some really important things I think there that you've touched on, and it kind of makes me think. I've probably lost count of the number of times when a bride has come to me and gone, "Listen, I've got this lipstick and this eyeliner. Will you put it in your pocket? Because I know that if there's anybody in the day who I can just call for is going to be there, it's going to be you, right?" Which and I think just that little thing is like a really important thing. But I think one of the really important things you've touched on there is about working with other suppliers, especially, of course, videographers and photographers. And one of the phrases that I often say to people is the videographer or the photographer has the right of way, which I think always, yeah, absolutely. How would you say you work alongside videographers and photographers so that, number one, obviously you're not getting in their way because that's important, but at the same time, you're making sure that with the best in the world that they're not getting in your way?
I don't really, like I say, we just have that little bit of communication in the beginning. If they get in my way, they've got in my way. I mean, obviously there's those key moments like the confetti shot or whatever. You can't really redo that. But if I'm just, taking a video standing across this side where a couple's just like walking across the field and I'm trying to get a natural video and they walk in front, they walk in front. Like you said, they're the stars of the show. Yes, it's important to get my stuff, but they don't do it. They don't do it intentionally. It's accidentally. I've had a couple of times. I think it was actually at the wedding you and I did. We had Louisa and Duncan doing the photographer. Amazing.
Brilliant.
And they were doing, you don't realise how wide their angles go. And they're doing this huge group shot with like everybody in the wedding down at the orangery. And I remember Louisa, because I've got quite a good rapport with her. I've done a couple of weddings with her now, and she was like, "Jade, you're in my way," and I'm fine with that. And I would expect them to be fine. So you just kind of get on and make it work. But yeah, if they're in my way, they're in my way. I've got, the wedding last week with my reels. You only need 1 or 2 seconds from that video. You might film something that's happening for 50, 60 seconds, but it might just be that one little kiss or that one little smile that you need for your reel. And as long as you've got that, you've got it. You can delete out the rest. So my stuff's just far more editable, I think, and it's just not really a big deal.
Well, I guess that's it, isn't it? I suppose it also comes from 2 perspectives. The first is, of course, a photographer's got the camera in their face. Same with the videographer. They're often looking at it here. I've seen you, of course, walking around with the gimbal. So I suppose you've got the option to kind of hold it up in the air if you want over their heads with, as you say, things like the confetti shot. But of course, I guess it is really a combination between great communication for everybody on the team. But as you say, you're not creating a 10-minute long video for the couple to sit down and enjoy in decades to come when they want to relive their wedding day. You're I suppose compressing the whole day into a 90-second reel or 3 or 4 90-second reels, which means you can be a lot more, I suppose, cut and dry with what you use and what you don't, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They're all very short videos. The only ones I think that would be longer is I do tend to film the speeches. And if I haven't got a videographer, they haven't got a videographer, so then it's nice for them to watch it back. Again, the guests can be in the moment, they haven't got to have cameras and phones in their faces. If they've got a videographer, that's the speeches come over amazing. They come across in this HD, glossy video, voiceovers over the top. But sometimes the next morning, I think the idea is somebody put it to me, and I think it was when Kaylee was talking to me about the content creator side of it, when she first told me, it was like, you wake up the next morning and you're like, oh my God, it's over. You literally just want to be in the moment. You're both in bed, you wake up and you're like, I just want to see it. I wish I'd taken loads of photos on my phone. So for me, I upload everything like literally overnight.
Yeah.
Obviously, there could be a technical glitch, but so far every wedding I've done is by 8 o'clock at the latest, sometimes 6:30. They've got an email link with every raw video photo that I've taken throughout that day. I then edit it and play around with it and make the reel. But they can wake up the next morning, they can watch that speech back. They might want to be, oh my God, I was so overwhelmed in the moment, I didn't even really hear that. And they can watch it straight away. So I do tend to film the speeches. I don't think content creators as a rule do. They might do like little clips, but I don't think they film them start to end, because that's not what we do, I suppose. We do short videos, but I do tend to do that, but everything else is short little clips.
So I suppose, and that's another huge benefit then, isn't it, really? A photographer says, right, see you in 3 months. And a videographer might say something similar, I mean, it might be less than that, but that's the kind of idea I have. Whereas with you, you're saying to them, I'll get a link over to you in the morning with all your stuff on, and you can go through and have a look at it. And that's fantastic. So if there's some couples out there who are watching this video right now thinking, we've thought about a content creator, but we just don't know if it's the right thing for us or how it might work, what would you say to help them decide?
I would say let's have a call. Let's have a call and talk it through, and I'll help you decide. I'm very honest with couples, sometimes probably a bit brutally honest. Sometimes I have video calls with couples and my husband might walk into bits of it, or he might be in the background and he'll go, you've literally just talked yourself out of a job. And I go, yeah, but if they're not sure what they want, or they've only got the budget for this or the budget for that, they absolutely should have a high-tech video if that's what they want.
Yeah.
We're just an extra. You've got to weigh up what is important to you. I don't even think chocolate fountains are really that popular anymore, but if you've got an option of a photo booth, a chocolate fountain, and a content creator, for me, as somebody who loves photos and videos as much as I can, I would want a videographer, a photographer, and a content creator. You can keep the photo booth, you can keep the chocolate fountain, but that's personally my choice. But I would say to a couple, let's have a call. I'll help you, talk you through it. Be totally honest if I think that a content creator is for you. Obviously, look at the work of the content creator that you want or you're thinking of hiring. And weigh it up, make a pros and cons list. Right, we've got this much left in our budget. I really want these 5 things, but which one is the most important?
I think as well, I mean, you mentioned things like chocolate fountains, and they're still out there. People are still getting chocolate.
Yeah, I've not really seen them, but yeah, I mean, amazing.
They are. But I think I would always say something along the lines of, sure, chocolate fountain's great, and your guests will love it in the moment, but will they remember it the next day? No,
Yeah.
not at all. On the other hand, content creation, I think in that, something like that, fantastic. So that's really good. So what kind of advice do you give to couples about creating things like hashtags, or even when you've got the raw footage, how involved are they in curating the story sometimes?
They're not really. I mean, I create my reel, and then if I've got enough good stuff, then I'll create a couple. It all depends on what you get and what kind of the lighting's like, how many different things they have going on throughout the day. Some couples have different musicians, they have a magician, they have a singing waiter. There's loads of different things. You can create many different reels. Packages usually offer the one reel, but if I make extras, I'll always add it into their folder for them anyway. Some you might just pick the one. To be honest, TikToks as well. Obviously, I make TikToks. Usually, I would always say to the couple though, if you haven't seen me do that TikTok and I haven't posted it on my page, send me over the one that you want to do, and I'll have a little practice or a little play with it beforehand. So that's something I would always say to them. But generally, I'm not. Once they get that footage, And once they've got that reel, I'm not really involved with what they do. That's all theirs. They can do whatever they want with it. The wedding that I had last Saturday, the bride Jasmine, she's very, good with her social media. She's up on it. She's down with the kids.
Yeah.
And she has made, it's only been a week and I'm not down with the kids. Well, I try to be down with the kids, but she's made a few reels, which is amazing and really, really flattering, I find. And it's lovely when I go on social media and they pop up and I go, oh God, she's obviously loved my stuff because she's made a reel. But from there, I'm not really involved. They might tag me, which is amazing, and it's always good to be tagged. But other than that, no, I don't really. Once they get their footage, that's theirs.
I think actually as well, and within that, I think the penny just dropped for me that I'm going to say that there's an extra bonus, but I'm not sure it is. This is part of the package that you offer, but maybe something that I didn't comprehend is that, yes, you're creating a curated reel, so you're giving them a reel of the day or a couple of reels, however you're going to do that. But you're also giving them all of the footage, whether you use it or not, which means that they can then edit their own stuff. And essentially, what they're getting is the view of somebody who is a professional who knows how to capture the right moments in the right times. Or you might preempt the moments that are going to come when other people won't, which I suppose is going to give the content on your content even more breadth. What kind of trends are you seeing at the moment that are coming up, certainly for you as a content creator, and maybe ideas of things to create for content creation for weddings?
The cigar trend is quite popular at the minute. I know that they wanted to do that at the wedding that I did last week, but it was so hot that we never actually did the full trending video that's on TikTok and Instagram at the minute.
That's the cigar trend.
But I don't. It just looks very retro and very. It's kind of filmed in slow motion, and they all look like absolute gangsters. It's brilliant. It does look super cool. But you kind of just pan along, and it's the whole bridal party usually that you would want quite a fairly decent sized bridal party. Or you could get your guests involved, I suppose.
Yeah.
The ones they've been a bridal party, and the male people in the video are, sitting there with cigars, and they're all just sort of very still, sort of smoking the cigars very candidly. And they pan across to it. You'll have to Google it now, or you'll have to look for it on Instagram once.
I'm definitely going to have a look up at that. Any trends that you've kind of seen coming around, or even of past, where you've thought, oh, I really hope somebody asks me to do
that? Any kind of transition ones I love. Anywhere it's, going in. They're in their bridal nightie, and then they go in and they come out and they're dressed. The flowers, and allow me to reintroduce myself. I do like that one. Any kind of transitional ones I really like. They're my favorite ones to do. We did the sunglasses one at Ellie and Joe's wedding. That was brilliant. That was really good fun because it's really good because you get to know even more guests when you do something like that. I think I took something like 60 photos that day with people with the glasses. And we'd forgotten about it until about 6 o'clock. So it was only at 6 o'clock I got given those glasses. And then I went into a panic of I've not done this one before.
Wow,
and it's 6 o'clock. And how am I going to get these pictures? And then it turned out absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Everybody's such a good sport. They all wanted to get involved. And it's really good then because you've literally got 60 people from the day of your wedding in one video that lasts 20, 30 seconds.
I remember that. That was a lot of fun. In fact, that video I saw on your social media just the other day. So... yeah, very, very good. Very good. So, I mean, you, as you say, you're working quite behind the scenes. You must have seen some absolutely crazy moments. What's probably the funniest thing that you've seen as a content creator that's happened out of the blue where you thought, wow, I'm really glad I got that moment?
Probably that wedding we did with the singing waiter. I thought that was brilliant. I've seen singing waiters at a wedding. One of my best friends got married a couple of years ago, and she had a singing waiter at her wedding, and we weren't in on it. We didn't know it was happening, and it was at the venue in Maidstone. I don't know why it's not coming to my name, but it's got steps down into the dance floor.
Yeah.
And he fell down the steps, this guy, and we all just sort of jumped up and was like, oh my God. And then he whipped this mic out. But obviously it was fantastic with us when we had it last year because we were in on it and we were with him all day, weren't we? And he was such a fantastic, funny guy. And I knew it was happening. So I got in prime position. He was literally in front of me. And then we're all just like the photographers there, the videographers there, I'm there, and we're all filming it. And then he fell on the floor, but the guests are getting really annoyed at us because we're filming these guys falling over. So that was absolutely brilliant. I absolutely loved that. I thought that was fantastic. He was such a good guy as well. He really, really like got everybody going, and yeah, no, that was really good fun. That was probably one of my favourite moments, actually.
Yeah, Nelson was fantastic. Yeah, that was one of my favourite moments from Joe and Ali's wedding as well. So let's get to know you a little bit better. What's the one piece of kit that you absolutely can't do a wedding without?
I mean, your iPhone, obviously.
Well,
aside from the iPhone.
Aside from that, yeah.
Chargers. I mean, you need to have your chargers. I do love the gimbal. The gimbal, I feel like the gimbal makes you stand out. You're not just another guest with a phone, because I do wear like a lanyard with my business name on it. But the gimbal, aside from the phone, would probably be the number one piece of kit, because it keeps the phone steady. It just makes you look like a wedding supplier. You don't just look like somebody's turned up filming on your iPhone.
That's right. Makes you look more important than somebody who just walked in.
It does. Makes you look very VIP.
Fantastic. So when you're not doing weddings, what do you do for fun?
Never in, really. I do lots of stuff with my kids. We're always out about. We have a beach day, where I am constantly filming them and making reels and videos of them. And I am a big campaigner for the Cystic Fibrosis Trust, and we are always doing stuff there. I don't do the running myself. My husband does some runs, and I do the fundraising side of it. I do the asking people for money. There's Wear Yellow Day every year. We make a big thing about that, and we do cake sales. I've done a podcast for them, and I do help and get involved with them.
Okay. Great. That sounds fantastic. That's really, really good. So on a wedding day, you woken up in the morning, you've got all your gear ready, you're ready to go, you're dressed. What's your wedding day routine to get you in the right headspace? What do you like a particular kind of coffee, or do you listen to a particular kind of music? What do you do on the day of a wedding to get you in?
Organised. I don't really have. There's nothing like that. I don't really have a coffee or nothing like that. It's just making sure that I'm organised. Just making sure that I've got. Even though I'd have charged everything and done everything the night before and left it on charge overnight, but it was probably already recharged from the wedding I did the week previous or whatever. Just re-getting everything out, laying it out, making sure I've got it. I will always have my backpack with everything in it, and then I've got my bag that I would wear over me in the day to connect the chargers, and my battery packs when they're needed. But just making sure I've got that. Always try and leave a bit of room for the bride's lip gloss, blotting papers, whatever else I might need. That just being organised in my head, looking up the route to the venue on Google, making sure I, leave plenty of time. Just that. I tend to find that I'm really, obviously you want to do a good job. And if you're passionate about something, you're going to be nervous. And if you aren't nervous, you shouldn't be doing it. And the week leading up to the wedding, I'm always super, super nervous. Usually like the weekend before, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to be doing that wedding this time next week. And they're a super fantastic couple, and they're going to have all these expectations, and am I going to live up to it? So I normally find that I have that about a week before. And then sort of the closer it gets to the wedding, I'm a bit like, it's what it is. I know I'm going to go out there and do the best I can do, and I'll just hope that that's the best. So I'm normally quite chilled and quite relaxed on the morning of the wedding. I've done all the, am I going to be get them everything they want the week before? So usually on the morning of, it's quite organise my bag, get ready, and you're gone. You're usually gone quite I say early-ish. You're usually gone by about 10ish. Especially if you're doing the get ready stuff.
Fantastic. That's great. So really for you, it's all about peace of mind, preparation, and making sure that you're ready to go to face the day as it comes. That's great. Well, listen, Jade, it's been great to chat to you. Before we go, how can anybody and everybody find out more about you? What's your website and social media channels?
My Instagram is Socially Ever After. There are, I think, there might be a couple of new ones who might have the same name, which is a bit frustrating. But mine is black logo with kind of pink writing. I've got a website, socially everafter.com. I've got a Facebook page, same logo as the Instagram one, and a TikTok, again, same as the Instagram.
Fantastic. Great. Listen, Jade, it's been absolutely fantastic to speak to you. Thank you so much for coming on to the Supplier Spotlight. I look forward to catching up with you again. So take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for having me.
And there we go, folks. A huge thank you to Jade from Socially Ever After for sharing her passion and her insights today. Remember, if you'd like to learn more about how your wedding can be captured and shared in real time, really beautifully, really professionally, and of course, totally stress-free, all ready for your social media, be sure to check out Jade's website at socially-everafter.com. Now, please do come along and join us next time on the Supplier Spotlight as we continue to highlight some of the most talented suppliers that really do make wedding days truly magical. Take care, folks. See you next time.